Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council to help businesses outside Nigeria to come.
Federal government commits to ongoing global reforms, solidarizes with other nations to strengthen multilateral cooperation. Stakeholders applaud federal government's 50% electricity subsidy approved for public universities and hospitals, say it is a step towards providing relief.
Coupled with extreme weather events have triggered the compelling desire to develop the DRR strategy and action plan for Nigeria.
NEMA partners, experts as stakeholders advocate disaster risk reduction, consider mainstreaming major strategies to reduce fatalities. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 6 on Nta News24. We're live in Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. President Bola Tinubu has made a global commitment that Nigeria's ongoing reforms are in solidarity with other nations to revive and strengthen multilateral cooperation. The president was represented by the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, at the high-level forum and the second Indonesia-Africa Forum in Bali, Indonesia. Salihu Gwanara reports.
Nigeria and Indonesia are like two sides of the same coin with decades of friendly business relationships. Indonesia African Forum is another opportunity for Nigeria to boost its networking for economic growth and create more jobs.
Nigeria is open for business. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been very consistent in that. He has said that all investors are welcome to Nigeria. We are putting a Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council to help businesses outside Nigeria to come and flourish in our country. Nigeria, more than ever before, is ready for businesses. Unlike before, you don't have fear that your monies or your capital could be trapped into the country. Once you come, you do our businesses, provided it is within our legal procedures. Whatever profit you make, you take out. So we encourage everyone, not just Indonesians, all investors around the world to come to Nigeria.
The President's delegation assured that the current administration remains resolute to promote even business opportunities by would-be investors in Nigeria.
This is part of the reason why we are here, to deepen that collaboration, to deepen that understanding, so that there will be a reciprocal business relationship between Nigeria and Indonesia. Nigerian businesses are expected to also come here. And like I said earlier, over 50 businesses of Indonesians are already operating in Nigeria. We want to see that reciprocated here. We want to see Nigerian businesses come here. At the end of the day, Nigeria and Indonesia will all be better for it.
In addition to the main event, Mohammed Idris assured that Nigeria's investment potential will equally feature prominently through bilateral engagement with relevant investors. In Bali, Indonesia, Salihu Gwanara, Nta News.
Disaster risk reduction is considered one of the major strategies which, if mainstreamed and downscaled to all parts of the country, would greatly reduce casualties recorded yearly. This was one of the resolutions by experts at a 3-day workshop on early warning for all draft of country situational analysis reports for 2023 to 2030 and 2024 to 2027 action plan. Ilyasu Yakubu reports.
Disaster risk reduction and early warning is an integrated system of hazard monitoring, forecasting and prediction, disaster risk assessment, communication, as well as preparedness activities, systems, and processes which enables individuals, communities, government, businesses, and others take timely action to take disaster risks in advance of hazardous events. This workshop, organized by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, in collaboration with World Meteorological Organization and United Nations Development Programme for Safe Resilience Project, is key to addressing the ugly trend. NEMA's Director General Zubaida Umar is confident that this strategic effort, if fully integrated, can go a long way in mitigating the yearly cases of hazards and attendant casualties.
It is on record that the current escalation of disaster events in form of conflicts, banditry, and annual floods, coupled with extreme weather events, have triggered the compelling desire to develop the DRR strategy and action plan for Nigeria.
Other speakers at the workshop emphasized the need for all to escalate the message so that Nigeria can be free of this menace.
And early warning is only effective if it reaches all those at risk. If we use data, the problem of disaster risk is almost solved.
The United Nations General Assembly introduced disaster risk reduction in 2015 with the sole aim of reducing hazards of disasters across the world. In Abuja, Ilyasu Yakubu, Nta News.
The 50% electricity subsidy approved for public universities and hospitals by the federal government has been applauded as a step towards providing relief. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria are, however, emphatic that finding a lasting solution to the social service rendering organizations must be prioritized. Lydia Sampson reports.
As social service rendering organizations, public universities and hospitals are not charging cost-effective bills to enable Nigerians have equal access. Ironically, these critical government organs are caught in a quagmire with enormous energy bills and debt, making their operations difficult. The approval of 50% subsidy on electricity, they believe, is indicative of government willingness to intervene.
When the tariff got raised from April, the bill became too astronomical, so that it became completely unrealistic for hospitals to pay. So we really had to be crying out to our coordinating minister, to the Minister of State, to the Permanent Secretary, and I really must commend them for what they have done. They have been up and doing.
Even if it will cost them like 5 billion now, if they need to go and borrow money to be off the national grid, if each of these federal state universities could have self-sufficiency in energy production, that is when they will be off this. Because there is no guarantee that this electricity tariff in another few months or year will not be increased.
They are optimistic that with more resources, universities and hospitals can explore alternative energy mix for lasting solution.
A special dedicated tariff for universities, bearing in mind of our peculiarity and then the lack of funds that we are dealing with in the system. And thirdly, also, that the government could actually empower universities to drive and get alternative electricity resources to the university.
As government work towards implementing the electricity subsidy, the guests are suggesting critical thinking towards making universities and hospitals self-sufficient in energy in phases. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, Nta News.
The 32nd Koran Engineering Assembly is poised to fill the gap and develop homegrown solutions to challenges facing the country and harnessing opportunities in the engineering profession for the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, Koran, making engineering practitioners in Nigeria globally recognized and competitive is key to unlocking and showcasing Nigeria to the world.
And South Africa. That is Koran for Nigeria and South Africa. They are the only two bodies that have joined the Washington Accord, the prestigious Washington Accord. That shows our certificate is attainable all over the world. Okay. That shows that even though if you go, look, check a country like India as a country. You have a lot of their practitioners in and around the world. They bring in foreign exchange earning into their country, up to about maybe $4 trillion every year, dollars. If you have that into this, it will strengthen our naira. And apart from that, when you now train people here locally, see, government also has a role to play. The role to play is not only that maybe we train people here, government must create an enabling environment where industry will crop up, and then we have production economy.
We are desirous to repeat this same feat at the level of the technicians, the technologies, the craftsmen and the artisans. Because we know in the long run, this is what we need. And like I said, the second leg of the National Skill Council has allowed us to regulate even the artisans. You know, this non-formal sector, where you have millions of artisans. For instance, with this National Skill Council concept, framework, a vulcanizer in Nigeria down the road will be regulated.
Okay. With Corin already recognized by the Washington Accord, the expectation is to build on successes recorded as the annual assembly provides a platform for networking, knowledge sharing and collaboration among stakeholders in the engineering industry in Nigeria and beyond. It also serves as a forum for discussing and reviewing policies. All right, let's go back to Indonesia and bring you the actual latest on developments there as President Bola Tinubu makes a global commitment that Nigeria's ongoing reforms are in solidarity with other nations. He was represented, or he is being represented by the Minister of Information. Here again is Salihu Gwanara.
President Joko Widodo of the Republic of Indonesia received the African leaders in Bali, the commercial center of Indonesia. For the president, who has barely a month in office, the Indonesia-Africa Forum, with a commitment to addressing common global challenges of economic shutdown, unemployment, inflation, and regional political tensions, this is another platform to reawakening the 69-year vision of the Asian-African Conference. As a giant in the African continent, President Bola Tinubu, who is the chairman of ECOWAS, in a message updated the forum about his efforts in championing initiatives to boost regional trade, enhance infrastructure, and promoting political stability across West Africa.
There's no country that is an island unto itself. Nigeria is not an exception. We are also forging partnership with all countries around the world, especially with the Asian countries, Indonesia particularly. We are coming here to bring the experiences of Nigeria, what we are going through in terms of economic prosperity, in terms of the challenges that we also face. And we are also taking the experience of other nations, especially Indonesia here, to see us to also grow economically, but also to provide peace and security for the entire world. Like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has always said consistently, Nigeria is open for business. Nigeria is also an important partner in the global affairs, and therefore, as a leading African country, Nigeria will always take its place to ensure that our country remains prosperous.
With only 6 years left until 2030 and only 17% of Sustainable Development Goals achieved, the forum deliberated on a new direction and strategy to make Sustainable Development Goals achievement the main focus of global and regional development priorities, including the African Agenda 2063.
Nigeria is a leading country in Africa, and therefore whatever we do towards Agenda 2063, Nigeria will play a key role in agriculture, in mining, in digital technology, and all other sectors that will ensure that Nigeria becomes a bigger and more prosperous nation, just as Africa also would.
The forum featured bilateral engagements in Bali, Indonesia. Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
This is the News Desk at 6 on NTA News 24. More reports in a moment. Stay with us.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the breathtaking scenery of the plateau, in noonday and nighttime, we set out to bring to you captivating stories that evoke your emotions. For fascinating documentaries and reports on day-to-day issues with expert analysis, tune in to NTA News 24, DSTV Channel 419, GoTV Channel 26, StarTimes Channel 101 and 433, and Free TV Channel 703.
Welcome back. The Nigeria Police Force has activated the Interpol tools and other global policing networks to support ongoing domestic investigations aimed at locating and apprehending a foreign national plotting to undermine the democratically elected government in Nigeria through unconstitutional regime change and orchestrating violence across the country during the nationwide protest. At a media briefing in Abuja, the force assures that it will spare no effort in bringing to justice any individual or group threatening national security and the governance process.
He mobilized and deployed several billions of naira to his Nigerian collaborators, urging them to mobilize the public to violently storm police facilities and military barracks, anticipating a bloodbath that will instigate international condemnation of the Nigerian government. These acts are in clear violation of the Terrorism Prevention Act of 2011 and other relevant laws of this country.
On the invitation extended to the NLC, the force says it was strictly to some individuals within the NLC leadership to get details of the relationship between the foreign national and that the force is investigating and the labor union as the suspect owns a business center within the NLC building. Similarly, the force is seeking support and cooperation of Nigerians with information that will lead to the arrest of the suspects at large. The federal government has charged suspected illegal miners arrested in Kogi and Ondo states during a recent operation led by the mining marshals to court. The operation took place in Ankpa local government area of Kogi state, resulting in the arrest of 2 Chinese nationals and a Nigerian for mining activities in violation of existing mining regulations. Also, the mining marshals raided an illegal gold mining site in Odigbo local government area of Ondo State, where 4 suspects were arrested. These individuals, caught in the act of illegally mining gold in a government-reserved area, confessed during interrogation that they lacked the necessary licenses to carry out their operations. The suspects from both Kogi and Ondo States have since been charged to the Federal High Court, Abuja. And the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja has summoned the FCT Commissioner of Police, Benneth Igwe, to appear before it over alleged case of contempt of court bordering on a Supreme Court judgment over leadership of the Chartered Institute of Project Managers in Nigeria. Tokwe Alabi reports.
The case has the FCT Commissioner of Police Benneth Igwe as complainant, along with 8 defendants, including Harry Ifeanyi Mbadiwe, Adewale Bashir, Emmanuel Olabode, Akin Babalola, Dr. Mojisola Mimiabu, Mohammed Suleiman, Hajara Yusuf, and Ayuba Shanu. They are all absent at the hearing on the suit before the FCT High Court sitting in Abuja over a 3-count charge bordering on alleged acts of impersonating Dr. Jamilu Issa Yankwanshi as the substantive president and members of the Governing Council, Chartered Institute of Project Managers of Nigeria, CIPMN. 2 court judgments and orders had removed the suspects from the leadership of the CIPMN, while an interlocutory court injunction order from the Federal High Court also restrained the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment from dissolving the CIPMN Governing Council and from appointing Dr. Mojisola Mimiabu as sole administrator of the CIPMN Institute. The defendants are accused of collecting money from innocent Nigerians and issuing them with fake certificates with the name of CIPMN Institute, which they are alleged not to have authority to do that under the law. Counsel to the defendants, Chukwudi Maduka, claimed his clients have not been served with a notice of summons, while nominal complainant and star witness in the case, the President, Chartered Institute of Project Managers of Nigeria, Dr. Jamilu Issa Yankwanshi, through its counsel, Ibrahim Abdullahi, says the defendants have not been cooperating with the court on the case.
Defendants supposed to take their plea was filed in May, like 2 pages of charge, but you invited them. You know, when the petition was written, you invited them, they came, you interviewed them, you take their statements, but you couldn't now find them and serve them with a charge.
From the FCT High Court to the Court of Appeal up to the Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we have appeared before 11 judges. And in these 11 justices, we have received justice. In all the justices we have appeared. And that is why we are here for the enforcement of the law. Nigeria is a lawful country, and nobody should be allowed to make it lawless.
Meanwhile, the presiding judge, Justice Cyprian Agasheze of the FCT High Court, has adjourned the case till September 9 for the parties in the suit to make their appearances before the court. In Abuja, Tokpe Alabi, Nta News.
Experts from Somalia are on a one-week study tour to Abuja to advance their knowledge of data protection. This, the Nigeria Data Protection Commission describes as a bold step towards strengthening national security. Ayodeji Makinde reports.
These August visitors, who are in Nigeria for the first time in September, came with youthfulness in their ranks to tap from the wealth of experience on the other side of the table with Nigeria Data Protection Commission officials. Officials of Somalia Data Protection Agency, led on the tour by Head of Mission Ambassador Jamal Mohammed Barrow, explains that the East African country is emerging from years of internal conflict. Hence, the need to incorporate youth in leadership roles to shape their own future and that of their country.
All our civil servants are very young, most of them younger than these people. Why we are doing what? Because they are the dynamic people who can move Somalia forward. And it is the policy of the government to give a chance to the young people.
National Commissioner and Chief Executive Officer, Nigeria Data Protection Commission Vincent Olatunji, assures the Somali delegation of adequate exposure to processes and procedures of data privacy. He explains that strengthening data protection laws with adequate legislation is central to national security and tackling crimes.
With your name now, is linked to your passport, linked to your driver license, linked to so many other things. So you are identified as a citizen. And that is why we are saying those who have these records in their position must put in place measures to secure them.
The event featured an interactive session where the National Commissioner Vincent Olatunji highlighted broad areas of Nigeria's journey so far in data privacy, legislation, engagement with key stakeholders and creating awareness with the digital ecosystem as pathways to attract foreign direct investment. In Abuja, Ayodeji Makinde, Nta News.
There is hope on the horizon for youths in Rivers State, as over 300 youths have been empowered by the Chukudi Dimka Foundation, a non-governmental organization, with a 3-month free tech skills to harness their potentials and make them self-reliant for economic growth. Osinachi Samuel reports that over 300 youths out of the 4,000 that applied made it to the 3-month free tech 230 project in the state.
I have this urge to run data analysis. For that period, I wasn't able to gather the money.
Because I've wanted to get into tech, and this foundation just gave me that on a platter of gold. So I'm so grateful.
The story of Chibike and Ozioma is common among Nigerian youths with no hope of achieving their dreams to become tech experts in this fast-growing world of technology. All that is over with the intervention of Chukudi Dimka Foundation that has given them the opportunity to acquire practical knowledge on tech skills such as data analysis, cyber security, software engineering, product design, graphic design, among others.
It's something they'll look back at tomorrow, and I'm sure from this room of 300 plus people, we may see the new tech geeks coming out from here. So that's what we're looking out for.
We're not just going to train these people and allow them to go into the streets. Some will be able to get that opportunity to fund for themselves. Others who won't be able to, the foundation will always come in to support them. So some tech companies have reached out to me, like I said, and have told us in confidence, look, when the training is over, please give us your best students. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
The Tech 230 project, which is an initiative of Chukwudidimkpa Foundation, is a pilot program with the aim of empowering 230 youths in Rivers State, irrespective of their state of origin, with the demand in tech skills. The window was, however, expanded to 300 candidates due to the overwhelming number of applicants who are in desperate need for life-changing experience in the tech industry at no cost. The one-day orientation program commenced with a training program by our reputable tech hub in Port Harcourt.
The skills you have are not for you to look for a job, but for you to do what? Solve problems. And the beautiful thing about it is there are so many problems in Nigeria. The problems are so many, which means the opportunities out there are so many. But the difference there is the mindset.
Apart from the fact that training is going to be intensive, is that we want to make sure, like we always do in our trainings, make sure it's interesting, it's fun.
This legacy project extends beyond training, offering co-working spaces, internships, and access to tech platforms, employment opportunities, fostering entrepreneurship and building the capacity of young people who will no longer indulge in criminalities, as well as position Rivers State as a technology hub. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
A maiden summit of Moro indigenes under the auspices of Moro Descendants Development Union at home and in the diaspora have resolved to intensify efforts through actionable plans towards achieving rapid development in all the communities within the council. The decision was arrived at Bode Sadu headquarters of the local government. Ahmed Fulani reports.
Local government area of Kwara State was created in 1976 with its headquarters in Bode Sadu. In spite of being one of the oldest local councils in the state, one would have expected it to be one of the most developed local governments in terms of health facilities, road infrastructure, educational development, and other indices of development. This maiden summit of Moro Descendant Development Union (MODU) that had representatives of all the wards that make up the local government on seat was to chart a new way forward with more action plans rather than talks without results. The convener of the summit, Isaka Ainde, is worried about the level of underdevelopment within the axis, saying that the indigenes have allowed themselves to be systematically manipulated and reduced to inferior citizens compared to other parts of the state. The guest speaker, who delivered a paper titled Moro Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow and Future, Potentials for Unity, Development and Progress, challenged all the indigenes of Moro to wake up from their slumbers and begin to engage in progressive plans that will emancipate them.
Our educational facilities are in shambles. Visit our schools, dilapidated structures, classrooms without chairs.
Other speakers unanimously agreed that it is high time they put all hands on deck to fast-track the development of their communities.
And we are created in 1976 up to today. 76 that I have not seen any or witnessed any better developmental program.
The essence is to preach, the gospel of unity and everything that will make Moro to progress.
The summit had in attendance elder statesmen, district heads, youth leaders, representatives of women drawn from all the 17 wards of the local government.
That concludes the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunloye.